What do we actually need when it comes to exercise and osteoporosis? It might be more than you think. It's not just one element to exercise that's going to be the most helpful and supportive for our bones. I'm Alison Crouch from Move Smart Movement for Osteoporosis, and today we're going to talk about different elements we need for the most successful evidence-based osteoporosis programming. So let's start with weight-bearing exercise. This is often what your doctor will tell you need to do is you need to get more weight-bearing exercise. And usually what they mean by that is walking, jogging, stair climbing. And those things are great. Walking, jogging, stair climbing, dancing, skipping, hiking, all of those things are fabulous, but they are more supportive of maintaining bone density and overall health than they are our main primary bone builders. So yes, they are an important part of what's called a multimodal approach to osteoporosis exercise, but they are not in and of themselves our number one focus. When it comes to weight-bearing exercise, the most effective thing that we can do is impact. And we have to scale that to meet where we are in our own bodies. So what does that look like? Well, it might be as simple as one of my absolute favorites, which is doing a heel drop. This is where you, just as though it sounds, just the way it sounds, you lift your heels and then you drop them back down. And you want to drop them back down with a certain amount of landing intention. And the vibration from that landing, the ground force reaction, comes up and has an effect, a squish effect on your bone cells, which your bone cells like. They find that stimulating and interesting. Heel drops can be completely modified to meet your particular needs. So if you're at a low risk of fracture, you have no back pain or anything, you can bring your heels up and really drop back down. If you are at a higher risk of fracture, you get back pain, knee pain, hip pain, you can do a much smaller heel drop and gradually build up your capacity as you go. You can do heel drops in bare feet or with shoes, on a hard surface, on a softer surface. It's going to change up what you get out of it, and variety is awesome for bone cells. You could also, I'm using a block because I'm not near a set of stairs, but you could stand on the bottom step, bring your leg forward and just step back down. Come back up, step back down. You could jump down. There are lots of different options. Woo! And lots of different varieties that you can use to bring stimulation into your bone cells. We're looking for typically between 3 and 4 times our body weight. And we want to do that, 10 times in a row, maybe with a little space in between. The science around impact is still evolving. So lots of variety is a great idea. You could do that 3 times a week. And then the big powerhouse. And what is the big powerhouse when it comes to bone density? It's called progressive strength training or progressive resistance training. This is where we're using weights or possibly bands or maybe body weight if you're pretty deconditioned to do specific exercises that pull on our bone cells because the muscles are contracting. So impact and weight-bearing exercise is about creating a bit of a squish factor to stimulate your bone cells and make them go, oh, there's more going on here than I'm used to. I should bring more bone cells into play. We get the same thing when we continuously increase our challenge with pull exercises. So what are some of the most common pull exercises when it comes to osteoporosis? Let me show you. Here are a couple of really great exercises. And as always, it's important that you choose the versions of the exercises that work best for you and your body. So this is not a prescription, this is just a guideline. But one of the things we really like is called a back row. So you get your hand on a chair, you untuck your butt and you pull your elbow straight up. And you want to use an amount of weight that is heavy enough that you can do 8 to 12 repetitions. And by the time you get to that 8th to 12th repetition, you're really tired. You know you could do 1 or 2 more. That's what we call having reps in reserve. And by the time you get to the end, you should be a little bit puffed. And I don't know if you can tell, I'm still being able to talk really easily. This is not actually a heavy enough weight for me for this, but rather than getting super, super puffy while I'm trying to talk to you, I'm using a lighter for me weight. So that for you might be 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 7 pounds, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you have an amount of weight that is fatiguing by the time you get to the 8th to 12th repetition, and that you gradually increase that over time. So back rows are great. Another one we really like is squats. So this is called a goblet squat, where you're holding a weight in front of you. You can do there are so many variations on squats. This isn't the video for that, but that's a good one to work on. Deadlifts are fantastic. This is a hip hinge with weight. I have a video for all about how to do hip hinging. I'll have the link. I never remember where the link is, but that one. And tap down and come on back up. You don't need to go all the way to the floor. You go to the place where you can go to with a long, straight back and a nice untucked butt. We're trying to avoid a flexed spine for this exercise. And then another one that we love is an overhead press. Straight up, nice and controlled back down. This one's a little bit more challenging because you need to be able to get your arms straight up overhead. I can do that easily with this arm, but I have a rotator cuff issue and I can't do it with this arm. So you always pick the exercises that work best for you, right? Osteoporosis wants you to move, not necessarily move. There's no one best exercise. So that would be the strength training portion of things. Then there's the part that's really crucially important for us, but that people don't love spending time on. It feels kind of boring and low key in comparison to strength training or going out and dancing or doing some other kind of weight-bearing exercise. And that's working on balance, agility, and coordination. But here's the thing, working on balance is not boring. It's contributing to fracture-proofing your bones. Most fractures are the result of falls. We can mitigate fall risk by working on balance. But I also think of this as like adventure-proofing your bones. I just came back from a scuba diving trip to the Maldives where I dove with giant 15-foot manta rays. It was amazing. Rocky boat, up and down ladders, carrying gear. I can do that because I've trained for it, and one of the things I've done to train for it is work on my balance. So what are a couple of balance options you can use? Let's try. So if you're newer to balance work, or you know that you have some balance challenges, you always want to be next to a wall, solid piece of furniture, something that you can use as a balance assist as needed. And of course, everybody's familiar with kind of the basic of the balance world, which is to stand on one leg. And if this is a struggle for you, it's a great exercise to play with. And you want to do both legs because, of course, we are stronger and more adept with balance on one side than we are on the other. But if you can do this for 30 seconds with no problem, you need, just like we increase the progressive challenge in our weightlifting, we want to do progressive challenge in our balance training. So you could try closing your eyes. That makes things harder. You could try moving your arms, passing an object from side to side. You could try going onto a less stable surface, right? A pillow, a cushion, a soft yoga block. You can go for dynamic balance challenges. So this is a static balance challenge where you're not really moving, and the goal is to not really move. But in real life, that's not what happens. In real life, you're walking along and something comes in front of you and you're distracted because there's a jackhammer going behind you, and you need to deal with multiple sensory inputs and a different center of mass. So you can practice that by leaning off to the side and keep going until you're almost going to fall, and see if you can bring yourself back to center. That's a more dynamic kind of challenge. So you can find lots of examples for this. I have a free balance course, and I'll leave the link for that down below. And then we have what we call the accessory exercises. These ones are not specifically bone density focused. They're not specifically weight bearing or balance focused, but they make all those kind of osteoporosis specific exercises work better. They make you feel better in your body. Because not only are you a person with osteoporosis, you're a person with knees and a pelvic floor and hips and a back and shoulders. You maybe have headaches, or you're tired, or you have a busy schedule and you need to be able to fit your exercise into short spans of time in the most effective way possible. And sometimes that means you're going to get so much more out of your weight-bearing exercise, your strength training, and your balance training if you're also working on your feet, your hips. Maybe you're working on some pelvic floor stuff. You want strong core and back muscles. You want excellent joint mobility to the best of your ability, depending on what you have going on in any given joint. And these are also a really important part of a sustainable, strategy-based, made for you personal approach to your osteoporosis and exercise planning. There's method to the madness. And that for me is the Move Smart method for osteoporosis. That's my strategy for myself and my clients of putting it all together into a system that works and is endlessly adaptable and changeable as you increase in strength and capacity, or as you get super busy, or life gets complicated and lifey and you need to step things back and then forward. We want to be able to continue working out for our whole life. Osteoporosis means we're in it for the long game. So if you'd like to learn more about my system and my method, you are super welcome to come and join me at the open house that I'm hosting on Zoom, of course, for osteoporosis, the Move Smart method. It's happening on Wednesday, February 18th. So if you're watching this after February 18th, check the caption down below and I'll include some useful information for you there. But if you're watching before the 18th and you'd like to come and hang out, follow down into the caption. I have the register link for you there.